Hello, and welcome to the I'm Just Saying podcast. I am your host, writer, producer, director, Andrea Clinton. Today we will discuss that horrid monster, human trafficking. It's nothing you may have thought it was, and it's everything so wrong that it must be stopped. Please listen, learn, share, repost, even text a link to this episode so that we can educate others and they can educate the youth and we can save our youth from this human trafficking monster. Our youth relies on us to teach them, to protect them, and today's guest is going to share a wealth of information that can be helpful to you in helping the youth. I'd like to introduce our special guest, Investigator Chandra Cleveland. She is a hero. Her and her team are out there in these streets helping our girls who've been trafficked and even bringing some of them home. Chandra, welcome. Please say hello and share a little about yourself.
Hello, everyone. My name is Investigator Chandra Cleveland. I'm a certified human trafficking international investigator. I've been in law enforcement for about 20 years, and I've been a private investigator for 17 years. And I have been doing human trafficking investigations and rescues since 2006, 17 years ago.
So I want everybody to make sure that they heard that you have been doing rescues. So
Yes.
We have people out there that's in the mix, doing some things, bringing some people home and helping some people out. So for those who don't know, I have a nonprofit organization that is producing a documentary on human trafficking. Prior to doing human trafficking, I was producing theater and some other projects like Project Snow on mental health and suicide prevention. Because of Michelle Obama's call to bring back our daughters, or was it bring back our girls?
Bring back our girls.
Yeah.
That was in reference to in Africa when they took all the girls from the school.
Yeah, and I have been, like many of you, kind of turning my head to the whole notion of human trafficking because in my brain it was, I'm just one person. That's what happened in other countries. I can't do anything about it. And come to find out, after some thought and feeling really bad, I said, okay, you could do a play, you could do something. So I said, all right, I'm going to, I started doing my little homework and I went to the United Nations website and I found out that it is definitely in the United States, human trafficking through sex trafficking, organ trafficking, as well as labor. And it blew my mind. And I said, here?
Yeah, that's what a lot of people think, that it happens somewhere else. But no, back then, maybe it was almost close to $1 million industry. And now it is $150 billion industry in the United States.
And I think the thing that blew my mind more than the big number is that the amount that they get for the women is not a whole lot. And I said, so what does that mean? They're making that money through a lot of girls or a lot of people?
Well, what they're making it through is, it's just like it was drug trafficking. You sell the product and it's gone. Well, human trafficking, labor trafficking, sex trafficking is a reusable commodity. So you can use it over and over and over and over again. Some girls that I rescue, by the time that I rescue them, they have been abused over 45 times within that 2-week period.
Oh my God. I have my Instagram page. I have one for the hit series. And so sometimes when I find a girl missing, I'll put it up there. And I come across a series, by the way, that was made to be taken down because they said it would interfere with the election. She just had a page that was helping girls, she had like some kind of a nonprofit organization that's focused only on human trafficking. All she was doing was having girls who were trafficked tell their story, so that they could help other girls to like stop running away or stop doing things that put themselves in jeopardy. And her entire site was taken down. And the message was that it would hinder the election. And when I went looking for the site, I guess because I kept on looking for it, and I guess they decided, let's just send some people. The first time I did it, I didn't get a message. the after so many tries, because I thought I was mistyping or something with my big fingers. And so then after a point, I got a message that said this site has been removed because it would hinder, and I'm paraphrasing, it may have content that hinders the election. I said, human trafficking? What are you saying?
Wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
I don't know what that was about, but yeah, but when she on her site, there was a girl who was speaking, and she said that she had, I believe it was her site. I hope I'm not misquoting, but she said the girl said that in one day she might have sex about 30, 40 times. That's unheard of. 30, 40 times in one day, different men.
So who was this girl?
I don't even know. It's whoever's website, whoever's page it was. She was interviewing people who had survived human trafficking, and
You don't remember her name.
And one of the girls, that's just what she was saying in her interview or whatever. I was just in shock, like, yo, some of us don't even want to have sex one time in a week. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Oh my God. So what can you tell us on that front?
The main thing that I harp in on for parents to know is that you have to be aware of what your child is watching and who they're talking to on their cell phones. There are many parents that go out here and buy their kids these $15,000 phones, $1,500 phones, iPhone and all of that, and still won't pay a monthly subscription in order for them to be able to track who their child is talking to. And I tell parents all the time, if you don't do that, you just said to your daughter, you don't really love them because you're not able to keep up with them as to who they're talking to on their cell phones. So that is one pet peeve that I tell people. If you want to see a different child than the one that you birthed, buy them a cell phone. And you'll see it. If you don't put any stipulations on those cell phones, you will see your child turn into a person that you never known before.
Wow. And now, is it, so when you say that, are you saying the child themselves, or you're saying the things that they will be open to that's out there?
No, I'm saying the child him or herself, because they start looking at things that are inappropriate. And so therefore they start marking those things. I will tell you now, the television industry, the cell phones, the internet is all a hindrance that, older people can barely understand or handle. And when we give these to our kids and they're seeing these reality TV show hosts with boobs hanging out, their butt hanging out, them being inappropriate in public, that is what your child end up mocking. This is what they display, and this is how they start to react. So these music videos, videos in particular, these reality shows and cell phones have a huge impact on how our children are reacting nowadays and how they are being lured away from their homes each and every day.
You know what, to your point, what was her name? Oh my God. She played the Bionic Woman. I just had her name, Lindsay Wagner. But she played the Bionic Woman, back in, I think that was the 70s. And she was on PBS. I never forget, I came home from school, turned the TV on, and she was there. I don't know if she was before Congress or she was before the FCC or whatever. They were saying all of this stuff, I guess, against her point. And so she got so sad. She said, if you do not begin to have not just stipulations, but to stay strong in them and do not waver, and you allow certain things to be on TV, she said, you are going to affect these children. You are going to see more runaways. You're going to see more deviant behavior. You're going to see more sexual behavior. And, like she was, I'm paraphrasing, but she was, and I was sitting there watching it because in my mind, Bionic Woman, because again, I was like only about 14. So I'm listening to her watching, and she was standing up for the children. But to me, looking back, it was like her against the world.
Right. And that's how I feel sometimes. I'm out there giving the information. Parents don't show up to the free the free conferences I put on for mothers and for parents and their children, and they don't show up for it. But as soon as their child goes missing, my name is the first name that everybody is posting under that missing parent saying, "Have you seen my child?" They're posting my name to help those parents. And those are the same parents within the area that I've offered a free conference for them to come to, so that I could tell them things that they would be able to know if your child is ever thinking of running away, or if your child may have been talking to someone who may not be any good for her. And, we always ask for help afterwards. I'm trying to get people to be proactive instead of reacting to situations. I am so fed up with the reaction of people talking about law enforcement killing Black people. We don't do anything until after the fact. Why aren't we voting? Why aren't we changing our city councils? Why aren't we changing things that are in our community? Why aren't we putting our money towards a community center so that we will know where our children are, what internet they're using, and who they are talking to? So there are a lot of things that you can be proactive about, but I need to make sure that people come to the forefront so they can learn those things.
Yeah, oh God, I think I may have to put that part in a commercial or something, like when I do a little trailer, because I'm not even on it like you are. I try to I have to dip and dab. I can't turn my back on it anymore, but going out there and filming it, I'm reliving things that have happened to other people that is just unheard of, and it's like having nightmares in real life, while I'm woke. And
Right.
especially when you get the good SFX people to do that makeup, that special effects makeup. So I don't get out there and help like you do. You to me are a hero, because you are going out there, and I pray that God puts 1,000,010 more people out there like you, because listen, just what I do, I feel like you said, like I'm alone. And all I'm sometimes just trying to do is pull people's coattail, like, listen, because of human trafficking, blah, blah, blah. And I mean, even to the point of telling people, when you get ready to get in the car at night with your kids coming out of the supermarket or the store, you guys all get in the car on the same side. And they're like, and waving their hand, and like all of those things matter.
Well, I would first of all like to tell you that I have a team. I have a team of people that we are very strategic about going in and getting girls. It's not always myself that's in there, but I'm always the first one that the girls have contact with.
Okay.
So, my team is very good. Our technology is very good. In order for these kids to be on this technology, I would say that it is something that is rewarding for us to know that they're on it, because we can better find them. But I don't like to advertise that, because when the people know that it's easy for us to find someone with their cell phone, they're making them leave them behind now, and they're giving them another phone. And that's when I'm out here teaching, trying to make sure people are proactive. There's not all the information I can give out, but it's not just them having their phone or not having their phone, how we can track their footprint. So, we just want people to be very safe. No, the phones are not the answers. No, the phones are not it as far as teaching your children how to be safe, but you have to teach your child how to be safe. We have this thing that we say, it's on me too. It's on me too to learn ways to keep myself safe. It's on law enforcement to keep you safe. It's on the schools to keep you safe. But far more important, it's on you to learn ways to keep yourself safe. And we got to do that. If no one ever thought of it before now is the time that you need to know how to protect yourself. And that means by any means necessary.
So I have a question. Do you find that parents are communicating with their kids as much as they should be about the dangers out in the world?
No, they're not. Some parents that I meet, they could care less. They give their child a cell phone. They allow them to stay home all day and lock them in the room with the cell phone while they go and live their life or do whatever they need to do. And that's just not it. I mean, even from the smallest child who is 3 years old, there's a parent who's always wanting to do something else. And in order to keep that 3-year-old quiet, it's like, here, just play with my cell phone.
Oh, God.
That is the wrong thing to say. You are creating a monster that you're not going to be able to control. So I tell parents all the time, if you want to give them a device that looks like that, make sure it's one that you downloaded. Yeah. Every game that's on there, that is from a reputable company, and that you check it on a daily, that you can find out who and where who your son or daughter was talking to.
Now, aside from the cell phone, what about communication? Because you probably answered it in just that. But what about communication? Like, okay, so for example, when I was young, I had mothers, aunties, women in the neighborhood saying to me, always do this, never do that. You know what I'm saying? Watch out for this, watch out for that. Slick talking men, even some women will try to, men will use other women to get, a woman to prostitute. Like, it was always these always do this, never do that kind of conversations. Our parents and grandparents and aunties, are they communicating? Even uncles, are they communicating?
Well, I say it's this thing that the parenting didn't come with a manual. It never has. But what it did have back in the days when we were younger is a community that could say anything to your child if you as a mother was not around. And now the community in which we have with babies having babies, you can't correct their child for anything, yet they are never there to correct their own child. So we have to do better, because as sex trafficking, when it comes to sex trafficking, it looks like this. 92% in Los Angeles, all the victims are Black and brown girls. Louisiana, 89% of all the sex trafficking victims are Black and brown girls. Ohio, 80% of the victims are Black and brown girls. DC, 80 to 90% are Black and brown girls. But what are we doing in our communities? I tell you nothing. The people who are taking our girls, they look like us. It's usually an African-American male. Whatever happened to the males who said that's daddy's baby girl and they want to take care of their girls? I tell guys all the time, and I don't give enough chances to speak to male organizations to tell them that they really need to step up to the plate, because you see your friend bringing a young girl around. I don't care how developed her body is. When that child opens her mouth, you know that's somebody's child. Why aren't you checking your friend? Yeah. And that's what I need. And I'm putting this organization said, brother, check your homeboy, because they're not doing it. Until it's your daughter that's being trafficked, then you want the world to move. But all before, you allowed your friends to bring those same young girls around in the mist. We gotta do better.
Yes. And I can't even imagine. I have a video up on the Hits Instagram page, and I found it, and I said, no, I've got to put it up, because I wanted to kind of, like you said, inspire men to step up and do more. And in the video, this it's an older white man. He's got to be in his late 50s, had a young girl who was about maybe 13 years old, and he's trying to woo her. But I'm not gonna lie to you, she didn't look like she was foreign to that. Young white girl, blonde hair, and she looked like it almost looked like she knew that going with him would mean eating tonight. That's the impression I got. And so, because she looked like she was going along, but not like she wanted to, like a kid, not even like he raised her, but she knew what going along would get her. And so she kind of was like, yeah, like, and whatever he was saying. And the black guy busy with the phone. And then I guess after he recorded enough of it, he just started going off. And he was like, and now mind you, he's a black man. So we normally are a little nervous about getting in white folks' business, but he didn't care. And so he started raising a fuss and carrying on. Then other people turned around and started looking like, wait, what? And then eventually people kind of said something. And then the white guy, because he was drunk, he kept trying to say, oh, no, brother, no, it's not like that or whatever. And then by the black man constantly talking, it was schooling the young girl, and she started thinking like as if no one had ever told her this is wrong, you shouldn't be doing it, it's
Mm,
a horrible thing, run away. And the more they
mm.
talked, the more you could see all over her facial expression that she realized, no, this is bad, this is not something the world thinks is okay. And then she began to be a little resistant. So that made me think about those parents who probably were prostituted and tricked out as young girls, and they figure that's how life is. And so they, because I didn't want to believe for the world that this happens, but I'm more and more finding out that there are some parents that teach their daughters use what you got, and that's
That is it. I mean, even though these young girls were not even born when that movie came out, use what you got to get what you want, with Lisa Ray saying that, the guy saying that to her,
love.
that is, I've heard that more from these young girls than ever before. And I'm like, who told you that?
Mm.
And they would say sometimes their friend or they saw it on TV before. And I'm just like, we got to do better. We just got to do better. We have to stop letting songs put out about this and all of their private parts and all that. We got to stop thinking that that is okay for us to dance with. Years down the road, we will not be singing that song at all. But it has gotten a lot of young girls in trouble because they're TikToking and doing all those provocative dances that those girls are doing. And they're not even old enough to do that. And this makes it an opportunity for these evil young males to come after these young girls. And we just got to do better. We just got to.
And it almost seems like they're hard on them talking about politics and talking bad about the vaccine and certain other things, but they're not saying nothing about people having their little kids twerking. I see sometimes on Instagram and TikTok. I don't get on TikTok too much, but sometimes they'll copy the videos and put them on Instagram, and I've seen people's kids in Pampers twerking.
Oh yeah.
And I'm like, we're not going to say anything about that.
No, those little things that you think as young parents that you say, oh, that's cute, or either my baby singing all of songs talking about her private parts, all that's cute to you until your child is snatched because somebody look at it and say, oh, they don't even care about that child. She knows all about this and rubbing her stuff and all this other stuff. We just have to start thinking better. Yeah. That is not, my mom would always tell us that is not appropriate for you to say. But no one is checking these children. So therefore, they are being watched by predators and taken by predators because they keep exuding this kind of behavior.
So I have a couple of quick questions, and you just drummed one up in my mind. Are we experiencing babies having babies, or is this across the board, like women in their 20s and 30s having babies and still being this neglectful?
Well, it's babies having babies. The most of the kids that are being taken right now are babies having babies, and those parents were not all parents. And this could happen to anyone. And I'm going to tell you that now. It is not just the ones who are babies having babies. It is that cell phone. That has been the common denominator in all of missing cases, is that this child has had a cell phone before and has met this person. And now the cell phone has been taken away by mom, which is a bad thing because the guy always said, well, here, take this phone. This can be between me and you. Never use the other phone. Use this phone. So now she has a device that you do not know about, that you have no control over. So, the main thing I see is that when you see your child start acting out of character, stop being ashamed as parents to tell somebody you need help with your child. That's the biggest time. Parents come back after a while, their child has been gone. I go in and I ask them, when did they start acting like this? And they tell me it's been going on for 8 months. And I'm like, who did you tell? Did you notify the school? Did you notify the pastor in the church to say that you need somebody to talk to him? No, they didn't tell anybody because they were embarrassed. So this is a woman who has great economical standards, have a great job. They live in a great house. They don't live in a hood. This is not hood children who are being taken. This is everyday children who can be influenced by these predators online to get them, to coerce them to come out of their home. And people say, well, Chandra, how can you do that? Nobody can do that because these kids know, no, and no. When you do not tell your child you love them enough, if you do not look into your child's eyes every single day, if you do not have a conversation with your child each and every day, your child could be gone right before your eyes. And this is what's happening.
And my problem that I've seen working with some of the younger women in their, like, I say at least 20 and in their 20s and a little older, the Gen Z and millennials. One of the problems that I'm seeing is that they feel like I'm doing a lot. I'm doing, I'm trying my, and I get it. I get it. But here's the deal. You're either going to have to open up the door for other people to be able to come in, because it does take a village. And
Yeah.
it's not going to change because you close the door, because you want to be like Shaka Khan, every woman. I'm working, I'm a single mother, I'm doing it all on my own, I'm doing the best that I can, and I'm trying to deal with this child, and I'm young. It's not like it's a lot, and a lot of us have been through it. But again, what I found with millennials, and I say it to the cows come out to pasture, I found that a lot of them don't like to listen because they said, look, I'm just tired. Everybody wants to tell me what to do and how to do it. My mother, my father, my auntie, my uncle, the teachers, the preachers, like everybody's got something to say, and the thing is when I want to know what happened that made them stop listening. Because I know one thing with us in Generation X, we was always in grown folks' business, trying to be grown and learn. Not trying to shut them out, like, leave me alone. We may not have always done the things that we were told, but we always was nosy, wanting to know. What happened that y'all don't even want to know?
Well, you know what happened? We had morals and values that we were taught, even if our mother was doing something else. Like people always say, you say what I do, not as you do what I say, not as I do. So, you were saying that kids nowadays saying everybody want me to do this and that. No, that's not true. Now everybody is in for themselves and not telling the children what to do. That is the problem. It is not that these kids are being told what to do on every corner that they turn around. No, you have older people that are turning their nose up at these young people. And it's like, oh my God, how could she wear that? Oh my gosh, her mom didn't say anything to her. So they don't say anything to her. All they do is talk about, instead of sitting down, having a conversation and tell this young girl, you are so beautiful. I know one day you're going to be the president of your own company and all of that. You need to start wearing suits and this and that. You can just talk to them calmly and tell them some direction. Some don't know that they can't wear that to a job site. It's just because no one ever told them, and no one ever told them what a good relationship looks like. Because their mom and dad argued and fuss and fight. So dad hit mom. So now my boyfriend hits me. I think it's okay. So I don't tell my mom because she know how it is. She got hit also.
And she said, don't tell nobody.
Yes. So those are the things that our teens are dealing with. They're dealing with responsibility that parents have given them that they should not even have.
So I have a couple questions I want to ask, and you can give me, the answer and the skinny on each of them. What are we seeing more out there? Are we seeing more snatched, or are we seeing more runaways get snatched?
No, none of it. And that's what I keep trying to tell people. It's none of that. We don't see runaways. We don't see girls walking away from their home. We see more and more girls who are being coerced out of their home. We see more and more girls coerced away from their schools. We see more and more girls coerced away from their workplace by someone else who's older, who is intimidating to them or just being nice to them. It's called the Romeo. This is how they talk to the girls, say, oh, well, I will take care of you. If you ever left and you need a place to live, you can come over here. If you tired of your mom today, why don't you come and just relax over here? I'll leave and you can be here. Those are types of ways of coercing young people out. And this is exactly what's happening right before our eyes every single day, that these girls who the police are saying, oh, well, they ran away. They're not just running away just to be out in the street by themselves. They left because someone told them that they can take care of them. Someone has showed them your body is fine. We can make some money. That money can get us traveling. I'll get your hair done, your nails done. And the parents are sitting there saying nothing. When you know your child is not old enough to have a job, how did you get your hair done? How did you get those nails? How did you get those clothing? These are kinds of conversations and different tidbits that are happening to our girls that are luring them straight out of their front doors.
Wow. Whew. I had heard that, but I was confused because on one hand, I was hearing that the girls, like I said, they could be just coming from their friend's house and getting snatched. I heard there was a lot of that. I was hearing on another hand that no, these girls are running away, and then because they ran away, the dudes know and they take advantage of them, etc. You know, whether they take them somewhere or they keep them in the community and make them do this and that. And now you're saying this, and I'm glad that you're telling me. You're an investigator, you know more. So some of the things that I got this from were people who are reading articles or people who are getting the police, you know, not to say the police, you know, not to knock them, but they're saying that, you know, the police are saying this is what's happening or whatever. It's just, you know, it's like with anything else. There's a lot of talk out there.
Let me stop you right there. Let me stop you for a moment.
Go ahead.
Okay. Law enforcement do not go looking for your kids. When you report them missing, they go in a database. And it's up to parents, neighborhoods, communities to get out there on social media and say that this child is missing and put it on every corner, because the child was taken by somebody within that community that knows something. Very slim chances that it's a stranger that comes in your neighborhood and picks up a girl and take them out. We can spot those people very, very, very good. But we can't spot the only community people in there that you know Tyrone is messing with somebody's daughter, or either that girl who was coming home from another girl's house, one of her friends, and walking, and that community Tyrone sees that she walks from her friend's house, and he decides that night that he's going to take her and he's going to do something to her. That is the number one conceding way that our girls are missing, is by that community young Black male.
Wow. Thanks for giving us that. Latchkey kids, does that play in at all?
It does. It does. I mean, when this first started, in 2009, I had a young girl who was 12 years old who was able to come home each day by herself. Again, community boys knew that she'd come home by herself, and they started following her home, telling her she's beautiful and all that. And each one of them took turns with her, and they were having sex with her every day after school before we got these new camera systems that you can see things in home. And she got pregnant at 12 years old and did not know who the father was, because when they finally asked her, she started telling that these high school boys would come in her house when she comes home and have sex with her.
Wow. Because even when I was young, there was a couple of people that I know. And I remember telling one of the girls, and this goes along with what you said about parents telling their kids they're beautiful, they're worth this, and, you know, just talking to them. She got to a point that happened to her in high school. She got to a point that by the time she was about 19, guys would darn near be waiting online to have sex with her. And one time I just happened to see her in passing, and I said, "You do know you can say no, right?" And she looked at me like I was an alien, like she didn't realize she had a choice. But that was because they started doing that with her when she was young. And I think that's what's happening. I think that, and this is what I was talking about with TV and all of that. I think that, and also with social media, for them to allow this to happen, I feel like there are a few things contributing towards implanting that in these children's mind at a young age, that sexuality is a good thing. You know what I mean? So
you see it at every turn, everywhere that these children turn, from the music that they listen to every day, to the TV shows that they watch, and to the devices that are in their hands. They see it every single day. Why don't you have this going on in China? And I'm not praising China's tactics or anything, but there are only a few websites that you can go to on your cell phone in China. Why do we have the World Wide Web at a 9-year-old's fingertips, which they don't know what to do with it? And surely most of the parents don't know how to fully operate the cell phone either. So we have a very much so a disadvantage of these social media sites that are not mandated. We leave it open to our children to watch these things on TikTok. We think everything is fun, everything is good for them to have, and it's totally not. It is setting our children up for failure.
Wow. Strip clubs, where do they at all figure in?
They do for some girls, and usually the girls that I see who are underage in the strip clubs, it's because girls who are older has brought them into it by another guy who is controlling the whole little sex group. What I mean by that is not always a guy who brings a girl into the strip club industry, the sex trafficking industry. It's other girls. And I'm not going to name any kind of big time fraternities, sororities, whatever the case may be, but there are many people who are bringing young girls who look good into that industry. And the girls who go into that type of industry, it's an unknown array of men who could have been the targets who ends up taking them out.
When you say take them out, you mean save them?
No, take them out and putting them in a more strenuous trafficking incident.
Ooh. Like at i.e. prostitution?
Okay. Prostitution can only be prostitution if the person is over the age of 19. Sex trafficking is 18 and under. So it's never a prostitution situation. Prostitution can never be used saying that someone 18 and under is out there prostituting. It's always going to be sex trafficking.
So break that down for me more, how the strip clubs configure. Because I think I got to understand it, but I just want to make sure that myself and others understand how this happens.
It's always a male. A male that's usually in charge. There have been few incidents that there was a female in charge, and she would get the young girls to come into the strip club, and she would give them a new ID and say, "This is your ID. You will be on stage at this time and that time." And she's pimping that little girl. That girl is 16, even though she may look older when she's taking off her clothes and everything. But this girl and this guy is behind the scenes making all the money that they get on the times after stage. And during that time after stage, this girl can end up going with someone else that may lead her to another country, another state, because someone said, "Oh, I need you to go do this lap dance for this guy." And he gets her number, and he tells her, "There's more where that come from if you meet me on the side with just me and you." And she does that. And then she's getting taken to another state where she's now into sex trafficking industry. And it may be just like the industry that was at a mansion in Atlanta 4 years ago, where this guy had all red bottom shoes and all black dresses, where he was bringing girls in for entertainment for other men who would come into the mansion to stay at the mansion.
Damn it. Oh my God. It's creepy and crazy the more that you go. And now it makes a whole lot of sense as to why the numbers are up there like that. See, it didn't make a lot of sense before. And that's why people thought it was in other countries. But when I think what it was when we just didn't know what all encompassed human trafficking.
That's what it is. A lot of people thought that you have to be taken out of the neighborhood. Some people know that there's a neighborhood young girl that's older men are sleeping around with every single day. That is human trafficking in your community, if you didn't know. Your daughter does not have to leave your community in order to be trafficked.
Or at home, right?
Exactly. Or the home. I have one girl in Louisiana, she was trafficked right in her home.
Wow.
Every day is a dog day. Every day.
We'll come back another time and we'll continue. The information that you gave was key. It was very important. And I'm really praying that people don't not want to listen because they're afraid of the horrid truth, but instead listen and learn from it and do better with your kids, your nieces, your nephews. If you have a daughter and you see that she's slacking, we already know it takes a village to raise a kid.
That's it. Find a mentor for your daughter. Don't go in her face nagging at her. No, you need to be centering her around with love. People who love her and say, baby girl, that is not the industry. I'm going to mentor you. Let's get you in this and that. Get her to speaking. I mean, there are so many other ways to do it.
And even also these mothers that have these daughters that are 9, 10, 11, 12 years old, because they may be doing the best that they can for their child, but they could be slipping. And then
that's
that
it.
10, 11, 12-year-old is, before you know it, in high school and then in this situation. And she may not have thought she'd done anything wrong. She may have done everything.
Right.
Went to work, came home, paid the bills, bought the clothes and this and that. But just the communication with the daughter so that, like you said, she knows that she's loved. Her and them have a good talking relationship. And
yes.
When somebody comes and approaches her, she said, oh, there's the one that mother told me about.
That's it. That's it. That's the one. That's the kind of relationship my mom warned me about. That's correct.
So can you leave them with something to grow on, something to think about?
Sure. If you have a community, or it doesn't matter if you're a mother or not, if you know of a young girl that is around you that may seem to be growing up a little bit too fast, find out, talk to her, find out what she likes. Try and find someone that she can emulate, someone who can mentor her to make her go in the right direction. Because the game that these young guys that are playing on our young girls because they like a certain movie or like a certain show and they tell them, they remind them of it, we can lose them forever. And the damage that's done to a victim of sex trafficking is very hard to repair. So whatever you can do, whenever you're around a young girl, please reach out to her, talk to her, don't talk about her. Talk to her to let her know she's worth more than that. She is a queen and should be treated as such. Thank you so much.
For the audience, I want to say to contact a hotline to report a tip or to seek services or ask for help, you can call 1-888-373-7888. That's 888-373-7888. And for the hearing and speech impaired individuals, they can dial 711. And you can even text 233 or 733 or 233-733. You guys know that this platform is for people in entertainment, those who want to get into entertainment, and trust and believe human trafficking affects those in entertainment and wanting to go, because sometimes people want it so much that they're willing to make a deal with the devil, even when they don't realize that it's the devil they're making a deal with. So I thought it was really important for us to go over and talk about human trafficking. And that's it for this episode. Thank you guys for listening in, and trust me, we will have more on the topic.
Dark days where the gangsters play. A life of charades that many things portray.
You've been listening to I'm Just Saying with Andrea and friends. If you enjoyed today's show, be sure to share, because sharing is caring. Like, comment. Also, if you never want to miss an episode, subscribe, baby.
Every day. Every day is a dog day. Every day. Dark days of our people turning on each other. Oh, word to the mother. Dozens being played by our brothers. Optimistic figures in the shadows of others crying to their mother. Every day is a